Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We're here with another Alliance War video, and this is going to be war number 1 of season 58, which is the first season and hopefully the last, because it's awful, with the new format, where each person only has one fight per war. It is really dumb, it is really annoying, and nobody likes it. Even as someone who has to do the planning every war, I would rather spend... I'd say a normal plan takes about triple the time that one of these plans do. I would rather spend the extra time and have the extra fights, because this is terrible, genuinely terrible. But for the first fight here, on my main account, we are taking my Hood to take this Onslaught, and the reason is because my alt had to take a fight with a champion that my main does not have, so I had to go with the R3 Hood. Mind you that this is back when Hood was Saga. I'm currently recording this in the middle, like the end of War 4. War 5 just started at the time that I'm recording this. At this point, Hood was still Saga. He is no longer Saga. So he's definitely not going to be used as much post like War 3 or 4. So that's unfortunate. Post-War 3. Yeah, the 3 was the last war. He was Saga. At the beginning, there was a really weird moment in the fight where my block got dropped for what seemed like no reason at all when I was holding block to get invisibility up, and I did take hits. Genuinely could not tell you what happened there because it didn't feel like I let up my block. It felt like I was just holding my block, trying to activate invisibility. He dashed at me like, okay, I'll take a couple hits into the block. And then all of a sudden my block is just gone. And I didn't even have Crush on me. So I could not tell you what that was. But here we actually almost lost our hexes. And we reapply them at the last second. Hood actually scales really, really well with these charges, with the type of damage that he does. Because you're going to ramp the charges throughout the fight, and you also want to ramp hexes throughout the fight, so you just want to get as many hexes as you can while also gaining more and more charges, which is just really beneficial for the way that Hood likes to deal damage. So we're just gonna wait till we have as many charges as possible. Right there was a moment where I kept getting the power drain and he kept going up and down and up and down and up and down in power, but the key part is that he was not going over and under a bar of power, because had he been doing that, then every single time he would have been giving me charges and this fight would have been already over. But because it was timed in such a way by like RNG, obviously it's not something I can control, where he is over a bar of power, we are missing out on a lot of roll charges. Now this fight is going to be done very soon, because you don't need that many charges to do some crazy stuff with Hood, and I think we're going to land a heavy right here. And yeah, that dealt like 50% of his damage. So now we have 2 minutes left, 13% of the health of the fight left. I do end up taking this node in later wars with Hood, and it does go a lot better, including with my rank 3 Hood. But this time it just didn't go super well. Baiting out the L1s is obviously a lot of time loss, and obviously when you have Neuroshock on you, you are not able to activate your miss, but you just have to be careful about like looking out for it and not just trusting that your miss always works. But it is still pretty safe. It's a matchup I do all the time in BGs. I'm extremely comfortable in this matchup. I would call this a good matchup. Other people might not. In my opinion, I would call this a good matchup for Hood. If you know what you're doing, I'm sure a lot of beginner Hood players would struggle with that, but not me. So that is it for my main account. And I actually cleared on my alt account first. But, so if you see Onslaught still up, that's why. And we have node 3 Bullseye here, and this is with Warlock, and Warlock's definitely the best counter to this placement specifically, because what you want to do is you want to hit him to get your infection up, and then you want to spam dash back, and that is going to put the regen on him, which is going to have him fail healing. He's going to attempt to heal and fail, And in addition to you getting charges, you're also going to be getting power drain on him, because this Bullseye specifically did have willpower on, so you are draining it even when they're trying to regenerate from debuffs. But this is not a matchup that in any way requires willpower. And if we knew 100%, like let's say we were facing like a top alliance, obviously a placement like this is not going to have willpower, I would still feel very comfortable doing this fight, because honestly, I don't play this perfectly. I don't. I could have done a better job of managing his power, and he is going to get to a special 1 in this fight. I think just once. I believe it's just once. But it is 100% my fault, because I just played it wrong. Flat out, I played it wrong. Because you are going to constantly be getting roll charges, so you, or force charges, whatever they're called. I honestly forget. I confuse the charges here with the ones from raids. But you're going to be getting charges constantly, so it's not something you have to worry about. But I also didn't do the greatest job in the world of managing my damage. There I get pushed to special 2 for, or sorry, special 3 for like whatever reason. I don't even know why I would do that. There's no reason to go to a special 3 here, because all this is going to do is push him to a special 1. And yeah, when he gets below a bar of power, he is going to lose his evade charge. Technically, what I also could have done is I could have triggered the evade directly into a striker, and that would have gotten the evade charge gone and would have gotten me out of the way. So even if he didn't have that ability, you're good. But yeah, we just do a really bad job of managing the charges in this fight, and I don't know why. I think I was just nervous, because this was the first time I was using Warlock. Well, not ever, obviously, because he used to be a staple of my channel. Like alongside Quake, it would be like Quake, Magic, Warlock every single war, and I would just dominate war with them. It was so much fun. But this is the first time, my first fight in competitive mode with a 7-star Warlock, because I still don't have a 7-star Warlock on my main, and on my alt, I just pulled him recently, and I took him straight to rank 3. Because we only had one Warlock at the time. Only one at rank 3. You'll notice I am running recoils in this fight. When I notice the amount of health that I'm losing compared to my damage, I don't actually think it's worth recoils for a fight like this. I think it's probably better to just take less damage and play in a more aggressive way. I think that would probably yield a better result, because while there are matchups here that do force recoil, for example, if you play Cersei here and you take it with Warlock, you're gonna want to use recoil, but this is not one of those fights, and I should not have, in hindsight, I should not have used recoils here. Probably would have ended that fight around 90% health. Maybe a little less than that, maybe like 85, but definitely not much less than that. So that is going to be the end of the war. We did end up winning this war. I believe the score was something like 10 to 19, something like that, or like 11 to I don't know. It was something in the realm of that. I'm not exactly sure. But we did win this war. We are now 1-0 on the season. I have 0 deaths. Both of my fights were soloed. And we've been trying to come up with a way to track stats. And this was not actually my idea. This was an idea by the Alliance leader and one of the officers, that the way we're going to track stats this season is we are going to track how many attack bonus you get. So if you get all 10 attack bonus, you get credit for 10 fights, like quote unquote fights. So I don't think that's exactly fair, in the sense that you build your Deathless streaks really fast, and I'm not exactly sure how it's going to contribute to Deathless streaks, but when I say PSR this season, I don't mean the number of fights soloed or the percentage of fights soloed. For this season specifically, I mean the percentage of attack bonus achieved. So Obviously, disconnects and that stuff is still not going to count as a death. And my alliance leader also had the idea that while you will lose credit, like you'll lose an attack bonus, it will not remove your Deathless season. I don't know. It's kind of complicated the way it's going to work, but we're going to figure it out as we're going because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it. But for now, we're going to say my PSR is 20 out of 20. So I had 2 fights this war, got all 20 attack bonus, so 20 out of 20, with 10 being on my main, 10 being on my alt. And my Deathless streak, I don't know how we're going to track it. I'm going into the season with a 1 Deathless streak because my only death of last season on either account was in my second last fight of the season. So it's either at 3 or 21, depending on which way you look at it, whether it's just +1 per fight or whether it's +10, which also means that my main account Deathless streak is going into the season 63. So it's either 64 or 73, depending on which way you look at it. And then my alt is either 2 or 11. So very confusing. I'm not entirely sure. Let me know what you think and how we should track it, because I definitely don't think it's fair to go by ones. But yeah, let me know what you think. That's going to be it. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.